Hi everybody, so you guys are awake now, I hope. Thank you very much. Let's start with a short introduction of Futurice. We help our customers to build new digital services, to innovate and especially change. We are around 17 years old and have around 400 people and offices all across Europe. What we do is, we help our clients to master the digital transformation on 3 levels. The first one is building digital services. The second one is discovering and designing new digital services. So design thinking, service design is a big topic here. And the third pillar, which is a bit unplanned, is we help especially large corporations to build an innovation culture, a culture that allows to attract the best IT people. We work for a whole variety of clients, big ones from the automotive sector, energy, insurance, media, but as well with smaller startups. But the topic today is face recognition. And at the moment, we are running a trial, an experiment with Finnair at the Helsinki Airport. The whole idea is to improve the check-in process by using a face recognition system. And how this works, you can see in a small video. Yes? Yeah, here we go.
We are at the Helsinki Airport. We're testing the face recognition technology. Passengers are asked to register themselves using the Android app we developed for this purpose. They are going to register 3 images of themselves, which is going to be turned to untraceable biometric IDs. And then they're going to walk down this way, end up in front of the check-in desk, and have themselves recognized.
Tämä oli yllättävä, mielenkiintoinen, helppo. Käyttäisitkö jatkossakin? Kyllä, mä käyttäisin, joo.
Mä koen sen tosi näppäränä, että sit kun sä oot siihen rekisteröitynyt ja jatkossa näin, niin kyllähän se tosi paljon nopeuttaa. Ja siis on. Joo. Ettei tarvitse paperitkaan.
Kaikki mikä helpottaa tässä vaiheessa, niin on aina odotusajasta pois.
Hyvä, kiitos.
Kiitos.
Yeah. And the first feedback we got was pretty amazing. Overall, all the people thought the experience is really outstanding. What is really surprising, I think, especially for the topic we will talk about later, is most of the people, or the majority of the people, is not worried about privacy. How does it work? Well, just to give you a short intro, an algorithm identifies facial features like, for example, the shape of your nose. In my case, you can see it's probably a big one, long one. Size of eyes, the distance between the eyes, stuff like this, and gives you a biometric ID. And this ID is now matched against a database with other pictures. What is really interesting is you can not only identify people, what you can do as well is you can, for example, recognize gender, emotions, race, age, and many others. And the whole thing relies on deep neural networks. So these systems are learning all the time. What are typical applications? Well, I think there are kind of good ones. The first ones are like authentication. This is really a better service for the user because you don't need a passport anymore, or you don't need to enter a password, or you don't need how is it called? Any other document. So it's really convenient and fast. Another group, and now it becomes a little bit trickier, is surveillance. For example, what you can do in a shop, you can identify known crooks, or what you can do as well is you can kind of observe a crowd for troublemakers. What has been done in shops, I don't know how it is in the rest of Europe, but especially in Germany, in shops, what they do is they try to figure out what your emotion is, how you feel, and then kind of display specific ads. So what you can do, for example, is you find out this person has probably a hangover, so maybe you can promote paracetamol or something like this. I mean, this is done. This is not fantasy. What I think is really helpful is, because I always forget names, is kind of a small app. When you meet someone, it kind of hints or gives you a hint who this person is with the name and maybe where you have met this person before. There are other applications which are not so, let's say, good citizens. Basically, what you can do is you can take pictures somewhere outside, maybe by using drones, and then let's assume you have access to the Facebook database. Yeah? And with these pictures, you can match them against this database and then assign a name and other characteristics to a picture. Yeah? Maybe this sounds a little bit constructed, but there are assumptions that nowadays already 50% of all Americans are in such a kind of a database. And when it becomes even more scary is with all technology, let's say fingerprint or DNA. I mean, this data was collected when you were part of an investigation, of a criminal investigation. What they do now is they run your picture against the driver's license database with the pictures in the driver's license database. So even if you're innocent and you haven't broken a single law, you're already registered. So I think personally it's kind of the government's task to come up with the framework rule that the storing of biometric data is only possible if there is either a legal basis or there's a kind of an agreement by yourself. Another interesting topic is, of course, accuracy. Face recognition is pretty accurate at the moment. So you hear a lot of numbers. At the moment, it's around 97 to 98%, which is almost as good as we are as human beings. And of course, it's expected that in the future, this will become even better. When you compare kind of a face recognition with a human-made identification, of course, I mean, the communication is much better with a human being. It's much natural. If there's a problem, you can kind of solve the problem face to face. But nevertheless, on the other hand, a machine never gets tired and works 24/7 without a problem. What is another problem is that you can more or less easily trick a face recognition system. There are special eyeglasses which allow to kind of pretend that you're someone else. Yeah, it works with an accuracy of 100%. And of course, you can use a lot of kind of things that change your face, like masks, as you can see in this picture. So the big thing here is privacy. And one thing I really want to kind of put emphasis on is if you are the supplier of such a service, you are in charge of it. And the penalties are extremely high. In Germany, in the European, the penalties go up to 4% of your revenue. Yeah? So don't mess with these data protection and data privacy laws. And at the end, I have a funny example which a little bit summarizes everything I just talked about. It's an article I found in The Guardian. In a public toilet in Beijing, they had the problem that people stole toilet paper all the time. So someone had this really cool idea, let's install a face recognition system. And how it works now, when you go to the loo, first of all, a picture is taken, and then you get 60 centimeters of toilet paper. If you return too early, then you have to wait 9 minutes. If you go to the public toilet many times, you are rejected. And probably the funniest thing is, just imagine you're really in a hurry and you really want to go to the toilet, and there are some reports of malfunction of the system, and you are not identified and you can't go to the loo. And a final remark, this was the end of the article. Someone said, I consider it a public toilet or a toilet as kind of the last space of total privacy, and even now this is not true anymore. Thank you very much.
We have a short time, about 4 minutes, for any questions. Does anyone have any questions? Questions? Okay, way in the back. All right, we'll start this way and throw it back there. You have to catch it and then speak into the mic.
Hello, first of all, I want to ask how much money will this technology cost? Because you show in the story, for example, one shop or one mall just want to save the money from toilet paper, so they buy the technology. So it means the technology costs very, very little money, or is the price very little that is conceived from the toilet papers?
Did I understand you correctly? You asked about the total effort, the total amount of money needed for such a system?
One question is the price of the technology high? The second question is the story about the toilet in Peking. Is it trustworthy?
I don't know. It was in The Guardian. I'm not a UK resident, so hopefully this didn't offend any kind of feelings. I don't know what kind of how expensive it is, the whole thing. We didn't build the face recognition system. What we did is we kind of built all the services around this technology at the Helsinki Airport. So the user design and the service and everything. But I assume when it's used in Beijing, probably in a public toilet, the costs are not very high.
All right, the next question.
Hi. Even without this technology, the powers of targeting are already creating some undesirable results. If you look at the use of targeting in the Trump election or in Brexit, we already are kind of looking at a somewhat out of control situation. And if you throw in facial recognition into a VR environment, it seems that we are in danger of even sort of more undesirable usages of this technology for manipulation. So I think what's a convenience in Helsinki might be really a menace in the United States or Russia or Turkey. And so this technology seems to be very dependent on the quality of the democracy it's functioning in. So just for what it's worth.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think what is really interesting is that, for example, in Finland, you remember the feedback was we don't care or we don't worry about the data privacy. When I showed the same movie to the German people, the first remark was, I don't want this to happen with my data. Yeah.
Do you provide some kind of APIs, and how does it cost?
Again, we didn't build the system, the core technology. Yeah, so I can find out, but I'm quite positive that we used a certain API to access this system.
All right. there was one last question over here. On that side, I had someone. Okay.
So my question is related to biometrics, and as you mentioned, facial recognition is something that some companies are applying for improving interface. Are you thinking of maybe partnering up with other companies as well to excel your product, such as galvanic skin response or maybe eye tracking?
Yeah, sure. But again, we didn't develop the kind of the core system, so we are more into the kind of how to develop a user experience around this topic. But of course, yes, we are always interested in business. So maybe you can join us at our booth in the Hall of Tech. Is it Hall
Sure.
of Tech? Hall of Tech later.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
All right, everyone give him Gian Casanova a hand clap. Thank you.
Thank you. Hope you're still awake.